GM, we are live, and we're waiting for two in a BBM. Yeah, we're just gonna hop right into it this morning. Tyler, GM to you. Thanks so much for coming in and hanging out. Likewise, Artillery Frost, Artillery Frost, the creator of the Chaperone. Artillery Frost, thanks so much for coming in. Joel, GM to you. Thanks for coming by. Al Boogie said, chat always on time. Yes, I was. I think I was about a minute late today, but I try to be as on time as I can. And we have Best Ball on Call, GM to you. Thanks so much for coming in. Likewise, B Grandy 17. Thanks so much for coming in. Let's see. J Dubs, I think this is you, Joel. I think you got in here in the 4 hole. I am over here at the 10, and we're off and running here. Let's see, what's the countdown? 20 seconds. So yeah, glad to be in this morning. I'm trying to think of anything notable. I guess the biggest news is James Cook. James Cook has officially signed his deal, or his re-signed in Buffalo. I didn't get the exact terms, or I don't know them off the top of my head, but certainly it eliminates the holdout risk. He wasn't practicing. He was kind of doing a quasi hold in. It sounded like he was just kind of like lurking around training camp. I think they wanted him to play in the preseason game, and then he didn't go in. So the vibes went from not great to immaculate. So all of a sudden, James Cook is back. So let's check. His ADP is sitting at 44.4. One of our guys, Kevin, who hangs out in the Matic Discord, sometimes stops by this channel, said that he saw Cook go at 38 in his BBM this morning. I suspect that's around where he'll settle. I could see him flipping Breece Hall, especially with the Breece Hall usage being as concerning as it was in that first preseason game. So I could see him in the 36 to 40-ish range, but I think he's definitely going to rise from 44, because I think we were baking in a little bit of holdout risk. Yes, Joel. Okay, you are there at the 4 spot. I thought so. Fantasy Football Garage, GM, thanks so much for coming in, hanging out this morning. Artillery Frost, they said most guaranteed money for a running back of the past 5 years. Oh my God. Well, that is good for James Cook. That's he's a good runner. I think we all wish that it was not a kind of 3-headed backfield there, but I am glad that holdout risk is eliminated, because that can linger into the season, not just if they're actually holding out, but if they miss all of the training and conditioning, that can cause a problem. Apparently, I only have 3 shares of Amon-Ra in BBM, which is kind of crazy. This is draft 103. I didn't have any kind of intentional fade. I think I was generally clicking Neighbors and Collins ahead of him, but I think that got a little out of control. I also have a ton of Jameson Williams. That's kind of been the way I've been playing the Detroit pass catchers. So if I know I'm going to be targeting Williams in, round 4, it makes me a little less likely to take Amon-Ra in round 1. But I do not want to be that far below market on Amon-Ra. That does not seem great. Terrence, GM, thanks for coming in. The Ray Davis pipe dream lives. Yeah, our I think Ray Davis is fine. I honestly thought that this holdout situation would get resolved. I think running backs have realized they don't have as much leverage as maybe they kind of thought they did. Do I want Genty Amon-Ra? That seems good. We were taking Genty in the first round for a fair amount of this contest. So I don't think Genty Amon-Ra, it's not going to be like unique, but I think it'll be a little less owned than some other combos. Of course, week 8, as always, will be a little bit of a problem. But yeah, I think Ray Davis definitely still has contingent upside. He'll take some of the base work. He could, work in more on the goal line. So I think Ray Davis is fine. I don't think I'm dinging him too much, but I suspect that the market is going to. Artillery Frost notes that Underdog needs to add kicking points. If they did, then the Ray Davis is an absolute smash at ADP. If we can include kicking upside, but unfortunately, I don't think they include that. I do know when they had the drop kick, it was a thing. I don't know if you all remember the Belichick dusted off apparently in the rule book a holdover from when football was a little closer to rugby. They did that. drop kick in one play, and I think I can't even remember who was it. It was I think it was their backup quarterback. Anyway, I think that probably would have created a headache for for some of the fantasy sites, and people asking if that would have included in Underdog. But yes, let's see if anything's interesting's going on the board. Gibbs and Ladd, that's pretty nice. Ladd has been a little bit of a faller for all the myriad reasons over there in LA. Only one person or two people going robust RB. The Saquon drafter takes Chase Brown. Chase Brown going ahead of Jonathan Taylor's, not super common, but not all that rare either. Lamb going at 102. I think you'll see this more and more. People, people do love CD Lamb. People want pieces of that of Dallas. He was the 103 last season. We got very running back pilled. So, this clump of Bijan, Gibbs, Saquon's kind of a choose your own adventure at running back. So with the Jefferson hamstring concerns, I don't believe he's practicing yet. So I don't think he was expected to come back to practice yet, but he's we have definitely seen Lamb flip Jefferson, and we've seen Saquon kind of get pushed out for no particular reason. Maybe some concern with the offensive line in Philly. I do think he was sliding before their left guard got injured, but I think there was a little bit of Barkley fatigue that set in, and now if you can point to the offensive line, if that's a concern for you, then it's an excuse to move him back. All right, J-Dubs. So J-Dubs takes the first quarterback off the board. He goes Lamar over Allen, which I, of course, think is a perfectly defensible position. Mike Evans at 31 feels early. So let's see what's coming around to us. Man, I don't take a lot of Kyren. Not a big Kyren guy. Being that I don't have much Amon Ra, man, another week 8 bye. I'm not a bye week bro, but even I have my limits. I think I'm going to take Tet here. I think I'll take Tet over JSN in this particular room. Again, the reason I didn't take Kyren is because I have a pretty reasonable fade on Kyren, and I only have 3 Amon Ra teams, so I don't want to have 2 fades on one team. I kind of want this to just be a normal team that I'm building rather than just like jamming the guys I don't have a lot of on it. If JSN comes around, I will take him, though, at that point past ADP. Although I guess you could argue I probably could have gotten McMillan here and just flipped him. But let's take Xavier Worthy. I'm pretty excited about Worthy this season. We still don't have word on the Rice suspension. Davis Maddock was talking about how there's pretty much two camps there. And the one camp was that the Rice team took the plea deal with the idea that they're going to get the suspension kind of out of the way, that they talked to the NFL and was basically like, we need to clear this up and it'll be like around 4 games. The other camp basically says that the reason the suspension has not been announced yet is because they're going to be, the NFL plans to be extremely hard on Rashee Rice, and the Chiefs are fighting back. And of course, we don't really know what the truth is. It could just be that the NFL is moving slow, but they did announce the Addison suspension very closely after the judicial process was resolved. And now we're at least, time passes weird at this point in the year. So I don't know how many weeks it's been, but I think it's been at least 2, probably 3 weeks since the Rashee Rice situation was adjudicated, at least criminally. So yeah, it does feel like the suspension should be announced any day now, but we're still in this like weird limbo period. So people are reading into reasons as for why. Greg, GM's gang, GM to you. Thanks again for coming in and hanging out. A James Cook footnote. Maybe he is somebody that I could have targeted here at 39, because we may see him if he steams up even more. Maybe he gets pushed earlier into the 3rd round. So might have missed out on a little bit of value on Cook there, potentially. Just something to consider. ADPs can be slow to adjust, especially on Underdog, where they take into account a longer time period. I don't know exactly what their rolling ADP is, but It does take longer for it to move, and I think Cook is going to be a riser there. Let's see what our friend J Dubs is doing. So he has a nice Detroit stack with Gibbs and JMO there. He's on the clock. And who does he take? He takes the aforementioned Rashi Rice there at pick 52. Again, I mean, I really like Rice in BBM, especially because you're getting it in a lot better than people earlier in the cycle who thought that the suspension was going to come next year, if at all. Let me get the ducks rolling. Let me get the ducks rolling here. And there we go. There we go. So we've got a 0-1-3-0 with Genty, Amon Ra, Tet McMillan, and Xavier Worthy. I think, well, we're going to use this spot here to add a running back. We've got Chuba, Kamara, Connor, and Harvey. I think my preference, I do a lot of Chuba, Tet McMillan, so I don't know if I want to have all of my Tet McMillan teams be tied to Hubbard, especially if Dowdle works in a little more. So I think I would take Kamara over Hubbard, and I get that choice is not even available to me, so we're going to take Alvin PPR scam Kamara. Now the next question for us will be, do we take a running back or do we take a one of these kind of exciting wide receivers? Let's see what the room gives to us. I feel like it's going to be hard for me to pass RJ Harvey at this price and a little bit past ADP. I do like all these guys. Obviously I could make a Saints bet with Olave. I'm really in on Debo. Past that, I do like all those guys, but let's take Harvey here. Interesting situation emerged in the preseason game where the beat writers, or one of the beat writers, I forget who, basically said the plan was for J.K. Dobbins to be the starter and to take the first carries, and Dobbins couldn't find his helmet, and that's why Harvey took the first snaps. And so it's not really clear if this is just cope from a beat writer who thought Dobbins was like gonna start and is now like scrambling for reasons why he didn't, and why Harvey got in there first. Well, I guess we'll never know. The saga of the missing helmet. I do have a lot of questions. It's like, where was the helmet? Did he put it down and forget? Did somebody move it? I don't know. But anyway, that's not to say that Harvey has iced out Dobbins. I want to say the split was something like 12 snaps to 5, or I shouldn't say that because I don't know the exact numbers, but it wasn't. It was definitely leaned more towards Harvey in there. Aside from being an idiot, says Artillery Frost, it's bullish for Harvey regardless of what reason Dobbins wasn't in the game. 100%. Especially when that stupid first depth chart had him as the 6th running back. Like, what are we doing here? Like, nobody believed that, but it just shows that those like unofficial depth charts are literally not worth the page, the paper they're written. The number I saw was 8-1 for Harvey with the starters. Okay, yeah. See, that's why I couldn't remember the exact number. I do remember it was slanted. Felt somewhat heavily towards Harvey. But again, if Dobbins can locate his helmet, we could be in trouble. As RJ Harvey drafters. Let's see, our friend J Dubs, he took Matthew Golden, which I really like. He's been a big riser, and that's not a bad price there. And Jordan Addison, who has been a faller, but again, in BBM, that's not a bad thing to take those guys who, like the Rices and the Addisons, who have suspension risk, who are getting it in better. Interesting spot on the board. Wide receiver has gotten pretty thin here. Laporta, I was going to say Laporta would have been nice past ADP to mix with Amon Ra. I might just take Josh Downs here. I'm not super excited about David Montgomery, although this is a good price on him. Let's take some Josh Downs and then see what comes around. I could take Chris Godwin because as my 5th receiver, I'm not going to rely on him producing early. Jordan Mason, not a bad bet, especially, kind of opposite Amon Ra in week 17. Jalen Warren is a guy that I think I want a little bit more of, although yeah, I think I'll take a Jalen Warren as a fourth running back on this team. I think we really want it to be Caleb, but I do think Warren, especially early in the season, is going to is really going to get more carry than perhaps some of us were projecting. We know he can do all the pass protection stuff. We know that Rodgers loves nothing more than the check down. So I am happy to take my Jalen Warren there. Artillery Frost, the sidekick loves to slam Godwin in these spots. I believe that. I mean, I really do like Godwin. Part of this is because I think I have a lot of Godwin. Let me see what I'm at in Godwin real quick. Let me pop over to the old exposures. Godwin. I have 8% Godwin, so I don't actually have as much Godwin as I thought I did. Let me see. But what about in BBM? Okay, I have 8. No, wait, I didn't apply the filter. Okay, so I actually probably could have taken Chris Godwin there. Anywho, I didn't take Chris Godwin. I took Jalen Warren. Yeah, there you go. See, this is why overlays are good, because in my head I have a lot of Warren. I do think I have a lot of Warren on DK because he was going later, and now his ADP on DraftKings is past pick 100, which is absolutely wild to me. Although, it's not without risk. That ankle did kind of spin around in a 360 circle, and that seems bad. Michael says, I think Dobbins will be the 1A as well. But first of all, Michael, thanks so much for coming in and hanging out. I think that's how I had been playing it in my head. I mean, we're taking Harvey because we think by the end of the season his workload is going to increase. I think with a lot of these rookie running backs, we know that unless they're like a Bijan or Genti type, they're probably their workload at the end of the season is going to be more than at the beginning. Like we assume it's kind of going to pick up, and I think that was the same with Harvey. But if the helmet gate is really like nonsense, and Harvey is actually going to have that much of the workload, I mean, he's just a major buy in the 60s. Like if that usage is what we should expect. But I certainly see the argument for it's also preseason. Like teams don't always run their veterans quite as much, so we don't really know what they're doing, right? Every team treats preseason a little differently. Coming over to us, let's see. Okay, so J-Dubs did take Goff. I wanted to see if Goff was still there, but it makes sense because he was not going to come all the way back around to J-Dubs because I would have taken him there. Let's see, our quarterbacks. Young, Mahomes is gone. Downs is sketchy. So this feels to me like a very Justin Fields coded team. I could potentially also do the same thing with Drake May. I like Shaheed, but I don't think I want to pass on Fields. I'll take him unstacked on this team, and we'll look to try to add Bryce Young, maybe Aaron Rodgers late, because I do think he's going to check the ball down a lot. Don't mind that combo. Scatterbo's been a big faller, unfortunately. I've seen him go into the 130s, which breaks my heart. Drake May would have been interesting, but I don't know if I really needed two unstacked quarterbacks. Let's just take Shaheed. We already have Kamara. We'll make another little bet on New Orleans here. Part of me was going to just go down and grab a tight end, but I think maybe this team will do a later tight end build. We'll look at adding a Mason Taylor type. Maybe we'll stack Fields that way. Mason Taylor apparently did not have a high ankle sprain, or he is the fastest healer since Wolverine, because normally one does not come back from high ankle sprain in a week. Skeletor GM blind seals. Hey, we are all just here staring at the sun together. But also, speaking of staring at the sun, if you could like and subscribe if you haven't done it, it does me a ton of good, and I really appreciate it. And again, just appreciate you all hanging out here. Hartman GM to you. Thanks so much for coming by and hanging out. Ghost Card says, good news, you have 10% of limbs without Scatabo. No, I only have 30% Scatabo in the Eliminator. I have 90% Scatabo in the Badge Bros Brawl. If you want me to be specific, I think it's actually 89.6, but I'm rounding up. If Scatabo is who you need this season, I might win the Badge Bros Brawl. I don't think that's an exaggeration, because I have every team I could possibly get Scatabo on. I did that. Just looking over at the board, this guy is hogging the mid-round tight ends. He takes Ingram and Njoku there. Scatabo goes at 118. Our friend J-Dubs, he adds Luther Burden. I really like the Luther Burden click at 117. Although people have discussed endlessly about Caleb Williams this offseason. It'll be really interesting to see if that turns out to be like a big nothing burger and he's actually pretty good, or if he really is like struggling, because we're taking a lot of Bears pass catchers like early in the draft. You have 4 pass catchers going before before the 11th round is a lot, plus Swift. So it is pretty aggressive. Let me see, where did Burrow go? So Burrow just went to this Brewski guy for absolutely no reason at pick 56. So he might have gotten a nice value on Cook, and then he took Burrow, and then he didn't take Justin Fields. So I don't know. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own draft, but that's some interesting decisions being made there. J-Dubs, he takes Tank Bigsby, who of course had some cryptic tweets. Weird. I think it was like 9 queasy faces and a Pinocchio nose, but apparently it might have been related to some camp fight or something. Who knows? Either way, Kincaid, Ferguson would be nice. I think I'm going to just take Marvin Mims here, though. I could take T-Law and backstack him, but I think let's just take Mims and feel pretty good about our wide receiver room. Of course, Mims got a lot of snaps, much to the chagrin of the Mims haters in preseason. He was getting a lot of run out there. So let's see if that's actually anything or not. Do I need... I really want a tight end, but if I miss Bryce Young, I'm going to be way more tilted. And I don't know. There's a lot of teams with only, I guess I say a lot. There's 3 teams with only 1 quarterback. People take Bryce Young naked. I don't have a great third QB option at this point. I do like the tight ends there, but again, I think I'm fine going 3 late tight ends. So we'll take Bryce Young. I didn't want to miss out on that Ted McMillan stack there. Artillery Frost asking the question on everyone's mind: how did you miss out on 10% Scatabo? And I will tell you, what's funny is I didn't only take him with my last pick. I took him like in round 15 most of the time, because they're, a lot of the conventional wisdom, when people have any wisdom, it's like you got to scroll down, and Scatabo is kind of a fun scroll down guy. So but there were people that took him in like the 12th round randomly. And I don't know. I think I was in a couple streams where I think people knew I wanted Scatabo and they took him, which is fine. I don't care. But I think there were there were a couple instances where I did get sniped, but that's okay. That's okay. I don't think I ever intentionally did not take him. I always planned that he would be my 5th or 6th running back on the team. So I really hope he's not a total zero. My one Badge Bros Brawl final team last year did have Pacheco on it. So, you can get to the finals with a dead roster spot. And Pacheco was going way earlier than Scatabo. Greg says, this is a good draft. I'm starting to get slightly more worried about the Shaheed Bags. The QB situation looks like third QB Spider-Man memeing. Nah, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. No, I know. That Spencer Rattler game against the Packers last year was the worst football I have ever watched. It was bad. And so I'm hoping, I'm hoping that they, I think they're a well-coached team. I think that they can get the most out of what they got. That team I mean, everything just kind of imploded on them. So I'm willing to give a little bit of a pass for the kind of disaster that unfolded there. All right, let's see. I think if Brenton Strange is there, I think he's kind of a podium pick at this point. The rest of these running backs and receivers, I'm a little more ambivalent. But if Strange is my first tight end, that's not the end of the world. I could also take Geno Smith on this team. I think that might be good. Also, I really like Cam Ward. Don't mind taking him, even if he's unstacked. But let's see, what are my bye week? Okay, so I can have a week 8 bye here because I've only actually have the 2, and now of course Brenton Strange, so I'm up to 3. So maybe this will be a Geno Smith team, and hopefully we can get one of the rookie receivers to pair with him. But yeah, so I feel pretty good about our QB situation. We, for the audio listeners, we're up to a 3-4-6-1 with Fields, Bryce Young, and Geno Smith. Running back room of Genty, Kamara, RJ Harvey, and Jalen Warren. Wide receiver room of Amon-Ra, Ted McMillan, Xavier Worthy, Josh Downs, Rashid Shaheed, and Marvin Mims. And then Brenton Strange holding it down by himself in the tight end room. All right. Goes Card says, you can tell the non-slap he's drafting 4 running backs in the first 4 rounds, or 3 QBs early, or naked QBs, etc. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell the like home league drafting 2 QBs like kind of early, kind of people starting to show up in some of these drafts, and which is good. I mean, it's going to change the texture. It's good to get new people in here to grow the game. I'm excited. I mean, this is such a fun format. So the casuals, they're going to snipe your quarterback, but that's the cost of doing business, which is why I took Bryce Young when I did. Probably, did I need to? Maybe not, but you know what? I'm very happy with Strange and Geno here. I would be a lot more unhappy if I didn't get Bryce Young and then I ended up with, I don't know, anyone in this kind of range here. I'm fine passing on them. I mean, I like Braylon Allen, J-Dubs. You said you got interrupted, but I actually quite like who you ended up with. Braylon, maybe that's a little early for Hunter Henry. I don't know if that was a star method or your rankings. I think that's early for him. And then cross-game merit, because I did see your message that real job interrupting the draft is just stone cold worst. Yes, that is tough. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened. Joel, let him watch. Check out this positive EV boss man. Yeah. You got to assert dominance in the workplace and make sure they know. Make sure they know what you're doing. So I did not get the exciting rookie I wanted, which was Mr. Thornton. That's okay. Trying to decide if we want 5 running backs or 6. I feel like with this receiver room, I could stop at 6 and I could add a couple of exciting rookies here. I wouldn't mind Jonnu as another tight end. I do like Chig. I think that is fine too. I think my preference would be Jonnu. If Jonnu goes, then maybe we take Woody Marks there. I think I would be fine with that. As far as tight ends past this, yeah, it's a little gross. I could reach up and just take Jatavion Sanders for my stack, which I don't think is the end of the world. But I really do like Jonnu, so maybe instead of Geno, I could have gone with Aaron Rodgers. But everything in hindsight, wasn't sure if Jonnu would even be here, and frankly, I think Geno is a better pick. So let's take Woody Marks. It sounded like he was having some good run in practice again. Obviously, I know I took Damian Pierce yesterday, which is a little bit disgusting, but I think it's a little unsettled at the backfield beyond Mixon, but I do want to spread them in, and this is a chance. He could be Houston's running back 1 by the end of the season, and so I think has a place on this team. Jack Betch, again, if I was going with another receiver, I think he would make sense. But we will probably add one more wide receiver and one more tight end. Let's check in on J-Dubs. So he added Isaiah Likely. Love that at pick 172. I think that's again, I know I keep saying this, but I do like some of these guys that have fallen because of suspension, or I don't want to say injury to catch all injuries. I think injuries where we have like a clear timeline and we're not worried about them. Those, like, the market is not good at pricing in these sort of like vague, amorphous, like day-to-day, week-to-weeky kind of injuries, sort of like the Ayuk thing. We don't really have a clear timeline, and we've seen his ADP kind of fluctuate everywhere. With Likely, it does sound like, you know, this particular injury, he's probably back for week 1 or very close to it. And yet we've dinged him, you know, 2 full rounds, essentially. I feel like the market, that's kind of like a more efficient pricing where we don't think it's the kind of injury that's going to linger into the season. Historically, fallers don't fall enough and risers don't rise enough. But I think there are caveats to that where when you have clear timelines, it makes me a little less worried. We do have Let It Fly here, who has taken 4 quarterbacks. So the quarterback room has gotten pretty thin. Aaron Rodgers, of course, has not yet gone, making me feel even sillier, perhaps, about taking quasi-stacked Geno. But you know what? It could be that quasi-stacked Geno is what you need. J-Dubs taking Roshan, who does look like the goal line back. I don't know. That backfield is very murky. And A.D. Mitchell, nice late round dart. Shadur Sanders goes in this draft. My God, it is truly late in the draft process, my friends. It is getting late here. In the ideal world, we will get Mason Taylor or Jatavion Sanders. If we don't get either one of those, that's a big bummer, because I do like both of these guys. I think I'd lean Taylor, but alas, we get Sanders. That's fine. I'm not going to push this, and we will close this with a running back. And the question is who? Rashard Smith, I'm pretty out on. DJ Giddens is nice. Justice Hill, I think, is usable. Marshawn Lloyd sounds like he's kind of good to go, which is cool. Let's take a Giddens share. I think Giddens has essentially won that job. It sounds like Khalil Herbert is not a thing that we have to worry about. So that's a team. That's a team, folks. It is a 3-6-6-3 with Justin Fields, Bryce Young, and Geno Smith. Kind of a fun mobile QB room. Geno, not super mobile, but not a total statue either. Running back room of Genty, Kamara, RJ Harvey, Jalen Warren, Woody Marks, and DJ Giddens. So very young running back room. 4 rookies, but 2 established veterans. Wide receiver room of Amon-Ra, Ted McMillan, Xavier Worthy, Josh Downs, Rashid Shaheed, and Marvin Mims. I think we swung for the fences there. And as far as late tight ends, Strange, Smith, and Sanders, some of my favorites. So I like this team. I think it's a good team. Let's check out what Joel did before we get out of here. He ends his roster with, after taking A.D. Mitchell. And yes, Joel, it would be ironic if you could retire. You could go back, roll the tape, and let them know you did this draft on the clock. And he takes Justice Hill. So I like that. Rounding that out, you were the Lamar drafter, so that's a nice that you were able to get Hill that late there. Someone once said BBM is the middle manager's way out of the hood. Gosh, that is the dream. That is the dream of State Farm agents everywhere. But with that, let's do it again. Let's hop in another and see what we can see. So waiting for 8. If anyone wants to get in, please feel free, and we will roll another draft. My phone is buzzing. I think I just got a slew of underdog notifications coming too late to tell me I was on the clock. All right, waiting for 6. If anyone wants to get in, let me know. Oh, I don't have the crawl going. And somebody asked yesterday how often I update my exposures. Not often enough, because I do need to update it. If it was easier to update this on the fly, I would, but it's a manual process. You know what might be funnier here? I'll put this up. Hold on. Let's put our top big board exposures. Let's have our big board exposures scrolling along so people can see the magic that was February and March of 2025. Things that some of it looks okay, some of it does not look okay. Yeah. A lot of Raheem Sanders. A lot of Raheem Sanders, guys. Too much Raheem Sanders, but that's okay. You know what? He might be the backup. I think he could beat Vidal. if Najee doesn't play. Like, unironically, Raheem Sanders could be fantasy relevant in 2025. I'm not saying to draft him right now. I'm just saying keep an open mind. Keep an open mind to the UDFA being fantasy relevant. Goes Card says, I'm in a limb now at the 111 with KC Pollock at the 112, and he keeps taking my players. I don't know if I know KC Pollock. I know Pollock is BBG. I don't know about the KC part, but there is nothing worse. There is nothing worse than when you find a nemesis, a arch nemesis on the board. So I'm here at pick 11. I got the 10 last time. I don't think I see anyone I recognize in here, but if you are in here, let me know. And I'm happy to shout your team out or sauce your team, whatever you prefer. Kaiser Sosa. Some of these names are like vaguely familiar, but then it's like you see the 3 after. So it's like, did I know Kaiser Sosa 2 or 4? I don't know. I do not know, but we're off and running. And again, I don't necessarily want to keep building the same team, but I would love to have a 5th Amon-Ra team. That seems good. I don't want to be fully fading him. I think the issue is I have about 14 or 15% CMC. I was taking CMC like every time I could get him past pick like 8. So I think some of my my Amon-Ra and BTJ exposures came, the price of having a low exposure there was getting CMC. I think that's what happened, because I am almost 2x market on CMC now. I mean, I take him at market now. I don't mind being above the field on that. He is one of my favorite clicks. He really does feel like the guy, if he's healthy, is like the most obvious play on the board, and we get him at a deep discount to where we've taken him every season of his career. So again, it sounds like he's healthy. So now you're just worried about re-injury risk, which is, we got to worry about that with everyone. Hopefully Granger takes Puka. If he doesn't, I think I'll take BTJ because I'm light on BTJ as well. I am honestly nervous about the Stafford stuff. I've been at market on Puka, so we'll do another Amon-Ra team. We'll try to build differently than the last team, because I know it is not fun to watch the same team get built repeatedly. So I will make you guys a promise. I won't take Genty at 14. I'll take someone else so we can do something different there. Maybe we'll go receiver. Although I was going to say, if they took A-Chain, I would have. If they took A-Chain, I would have taken Drake London. I really love Drake London. I think, let me see what my London exposure is in BBM. I am curious. All right. My Drake London, 10% there. So or almost 11%. So, and CMC, I guess I'm down to 12%. I think that's more a function of getting to the, getting at market there. Or at least, the price rising. So I'm not like taking him ahead of ADP really. He's now in a position where I don't really want to fade any of the guys in front of him to get CMC, but I was willing to pass on like Nico and Puka and Amon-Ra to get CMC shares. Ghost card, CMC second round in May brings a tear to my eye since I missed those bags. Oh no. Yeah, well, Yeah. I mean, I think he's still, if he's who you need, he's who you need. Like, you're not going to get iced out by the May teams. It's like this guy at 7 gets CMC AJ Brown. It's like that's still pretty good. I mean, maybe you're not getting, you know, Nico CMC or Puka CMC, but it's not like it drops off a cliff with the people you're pairing him with today. So I don't think that's a reason to like not pack CMC bags. You know, it's enough of a flat tier in this second round. I think you're okay. So the one hole, he does the classic Bengals cards week 17 stack. So he's checking all the boxes there, going with the Bengals double with a bring back. The Lamar goes over here on the left. I do like doing that. I've noted that before because you can get Zay Flowers here if you want to pair Zay Flowers with Lamar pretty much every time at pick 47. And then if you want to get Mark Andrews, you can snag him here at this point in the turn. And sometimes Bateman will come back to you in the 10th. So I like Lamar on the left, even if his natural, ADP, he tends to be more over here. I think this is fine. And you can, again, do what this guy did, get Jacobs, Lamar for if you like that week 17 game. You can get that pretty much every time you want from the 1 and 2 hole there. All right, so we've got A-Chain and Amon-Ra. And who do we want to add to this team? Let's see. So, again, Kyron and Devontae, I'm a little out on. I think I would take a George Kittle share. If not George Kittle, then maybe we do a Jaden Daniels team. Let's see. So I'll cue that up. So we'll take Kittle. He's of course been a healthy riser. So we're not getting it in the best here. But honestly, if you're here in the 11 hole, you didn't get him at 59. He never went that late. So I think you're still fine. Now the question is do we want Daniels or do we want like a Worthy? Let's do a Jaden Daniels team. Let's take Jaden Daniels. I don't do a ton of 1-1-1-1, but here we are. So for the audio folks, we've got Daniels, A-Chain, Amon-Ra, and George Kittle here. This is a range of wide receiver I really like, so it is hard for me to pass on that. But again, I don't want all my teams to look exactly the same. We are picking at 59 and 62, so I do think I like Daniels stacked with a Debo. So I'm going to add Debo to the queue. We'll see what the alternative is. Like, is it worth trying to push Debo around for 2 picks? It's going to depend on who those picks are. If there's a big ADP faller, we can do that. This guy doesn't have any Cowboys. He doesn't have any Commanders. So there's no specific reason why he would take Debo, but people do have player takes. And so I don't want to discount that. So we'll see what the alternatives are. We'll have some flexibility with the pick. Now that we have quarterback and tight end locked up, we can kind of ping pong between running back and receiver as the draft goes on and take whoever we fancy there. All right, I'm going to take the depressing big board exposures off. We'll go back to the BBM where everything looks a little healthier. Yeah, I was so in on the Jack Betch roller coaster has been something because I was taking Jack Betch in the big board when he was like free. And then he rose up after the Senior Bowl, and he wasn't free, but he wasn't like going super early. And then he was a 2nd round pick, and I was like, I am so pre-rich. I just, all I need to do is wait until December 31st, and I'm going to be a wealthy man. And since then, it hasn't been great. Thornton has outplayed him. They don't play exactly the same position, but Thornton is he's worked his way onto the field, and Thornton, I think he's going to be a starter. And so now Betch is more the Myers backup, fighting with Trey Tucker for snaps. It's not great. It's not great, and it's not terrible. Like I think he's still going to see the field. He could be a guy that comes on late. You never know, but again, I think it's unlikely that they drafted him in the 2nd round to purely be the Jacoby Myers replacement in a year. I don't think that's what the intention was. I think Thornton being as good as he has been has sort of altered the plans a little bit. So the Chase Higgins drafter is going to risk it all. He is not going to take Joe Burrow there. We'll see where Joe Burrow ends up going. Of course, we have a elite quarterback here, so we don't have to at least worry as much about some of the sniping as we do, because we have made our selection. I mean, if somehow Jameson goes to me, that is a absolute podium pick. So I would not pass on that. Yeah, I did not think he was going to get to 59, but man, JMO at 55 is pretty nice. Pretty nice. Yeah, none of these guys I think I really need to pass on. I mean, none of these guys I really need to take ahead of Debo. I think Debo is more important than any of them. I would have taken Pearsall with my next pick to pair with Kittle. I like Kamara. I like Harvey. Obviously, I took them both last draft. Let's take Debo, and then let's queue them up. If we don't get either of them, what do we want to do? We could take Igbuka. I'm pretty into that. We could take Zay Flowers. I guess. I have a hard time with Zay Flowers without Lamar. I don't think it's bad, and maybe that's a leak that I don't take him because he's a good receiver on a good offense. But let's just take another Kamara share. I think he's really lining up for a big role this season. So far we've got a 1-2-2-1 with Jaden Daniels, Devon Achane, Alvin Kamara, a wide receiver room of Amon-Ra and Debo Samuel, and then George Kittle at tight end. So it feels a little thin at receiver. We are picking at 83 and 86. And your receiver is pretty gross. So maybe we should have taken a receiver there instead of Kamara. But you know what? Hopefully we can make it work. Joe Burrow, of course, goes on return for no great reason. But you know what? Hey, we all have our vices. We all have our vices, and Kaiser Soza 3 says, I would like unstacked Joe Burrow on this team. Like, sure, I have T-Law, who lines up nicely with BTJ over here, and Stafford is nearly free nowadays. But I'm gonna take Joe Burrow, and I respect a man who is willing to make a stand there. So let's hope, however, for our sake, that some wide receivers come rolling by in the mid 80s, or this team is going to get dicey. But you know what? When you take an early QB and an early tight end, you got to make sacrifices somewhere. In this room, it does appear to be tight end. Matthew Golden at 70. Again, big riser, guy that I'm very into. You used to be able to get him over here. Now he goes over here. Kind of a big bummer. But you know what? I like the team I've got. Igbuka would have perhaps been nice as a bring back to A-Chain. I think the Dolphins defense is going to stink yet again. And there is the potential that what you need in week 17 are bucks. But we'll see. Tim says, the amount of unstacked Burrow I've seen recently is something. Maybe it's because people are trying to get unique, because there are probably a lot of Burrow, Chase Higgins stacks already. I think it's really just his ADP looks like it looks like you're getting such a value. Like, how can I pass on him? Let me see. What is his ADP? It's 60. All right. So I can't, you know what, Tim? I take that back. His ADP used to be closer to the 40s. So then it's like, it was hard for him to get into the 60s, because someone would say, like, I'm getting 20 picks of value. But yeah, if his ADP is now actually 60, which is so funny, because it just literally it's middling, like pick 48 and pick 72. Like, it basically means you either should get him here or here. And then he gets middle to where, like, he's not actually taken or shouldn't be taken. I would have loved Tony Pollard with Spears' injury. He's to me a smash, but it's unfortunately we didn't get that. Jaden Reed's in a walking boot, which not great there. I hate to take another Josh Downs share if he comes to us, but I think Josh Downs makes a lot of sense on this team. I'm not taking Brian Robinson. I know he's on the Commanders, but I think Brian Robinson is not good. If Downs goes, maybe we take Godwin and hope we get Higgins on the turn. All right, so we're going to take Downs, and then, man, I mean, we could do Downs and Pittman. I don't really do that. Take both Colts. I don't know, but yeah, I'll take another Downs share here. And I'm light on Jaden Reed, but I don't think I want that. Let's take a Godwin share. He's a guy who, if you're trying to catch up at receiver, I like, because you're getting a big discount on how good he is. You might not get the early season production, but if I'm alive in the playoffs, he's, a guy I really want in a team where again, my second receiver is Debo and my third is Downs. I think that's fine. So I feel better about my my wide receiver room now with Daniels at QB, A-Chain and Kamara at running back, Amon-Ra, Debo Samuel, Josh Downs, and Chris Godwin, and George Kittle at tight end. But yeah, funny about the Burrow. So wow, CJ Stroud goes at pick 88. Don't know if that was a star method for Blackstock who had Nico. Kind of a strange pick, but hey, we who's to say? But I suspect that was a star method disaster, but I don't know. I don't think that was a timeout. So he clicked CJ Stroud at pick 88. So there we go. Other than that, I guess we have two people going 0-2-5-0. Yeah, a lot of wide receiver heavy teams in this particular draft, which, again, made it a little harder for me trying to push receiver. But, this whole range here, this Odunze to Jennings range, just none of them are around by pick 83 these days. They're all going quite a bit earlier. Diggs, again, he was a guy that you could reliably get over here on the right side of the board in the 80s, and has now, has consistently been rising throughout this hot best ball summer. Mark Andrews at 93 is a little early, but I guess if you really want Andrews, you got to get him past the Lamar drafter, and maybe he thought that the Lamar drafter would have taken him there. The Lamar drafter, of course, did not go the route of stacking him with Flowers, which is kind of interesting to me. That's one of the perks of taking him here, unless his plan was to get Andrews, which I understand, but that plan has failed. That plan has failed, and he did not get Mark Andrews. I keep the board up, and he takes Keon Coleman there. So thinking about additional quarterbacks, I don't think Baker's gone, but I'd be shocked if Baker gets to me. I think the Evans drafter has no quarterback, so M. Stockton, if Baker's there at 104, I think he's going to windmill that pick in. I can't get Purdy just went. Purdy would have been interesting to stack. Goff could be the direction I go, and then maybe I take one late quarterback, potentially like an A-Rich or something, but we'll see when we get there. Goff, of course, is not like mandatory on the Amon-Ra team, but he does make a certain amount of sense. Again, with Jaden Daniels, we're kind of making that bet. So some Stockton guy does not get Baker because Baker goes to this guy unstacked. So it's a dog eat dog world out there, folks. It is nobody is looking out for you in these best ball streets, and that's why we got to stick together. That's why we got to stick together here. Bo Nix, I wouldn't hate an unstacked Bo Nix. Okay, yeah, he doesn't come to me. I've been out on Etienne, but there goes Etienne. Maybe we take Sharbs. I think that's think that's fine. Ken Walker is back at practice, but I think Charbonnet still has some nice contingent value, and running back it goes off an absolute cliff at this part of the draft. I am tempted by Fields. Again, an unstacked Fields at pick 110, I think is perfectly defensible. I think having Fields and Daniels is pretty appealing to me. I almost feel like I want to do that. Shaheed is fine. Again, I did a Shaheed Kumara team. Christian Kirk's not bad, but let's do it. Let's pressure the room at quarterback a little bit, and we'll take another Justin Fields share here. I'm really in on Fields this season, and I think having him at his ADP with Daniels is kind of fun. ATX Bearcat says Sharp's the only comfy click in that range at the moment. Yeah, he really is. He really is. That range of running back is so crazy. I mean, Tank Bigsby, taking him at 109 feels awful. He was going in the 150s, now maybe in the 130s. Like that's not a click I'm happy to make. The tight ends, to me, ATX Bearcat, I like clicking. If I didn't have Kittle, I think that would have been fine. I mean, maybe you could argue taking a tight end there and stopping at 2 tight ends is good, but again, I just think the upside of Fields is something that we're going to look back on his ADP, and it's going to seem like a massive value if Fields has any kind of good season this year. So we'll take a Fields share there. A bunch of quarterbacks going off. Drake May going here, of course, does not make it to the Diggs drafter. The one good thing about doing this Chase Higgins with McBride double is if you're really week 17 focused, you can emergency bail out to Kyler and just tell yourself that game is a shootout, but Kyler outscores Burrow, and I think that's a fine way to play it. If you're in on Kyler, so I do like that, pulling the ripcord and grabbing Kyler there. Of course, this guy takes T-Law also to pair with Travis Hunter. So a little early on T-Law, but again, when, Hunter goes all the way on the left side of the board, T-Law can get pulled up 10-ish picks past ADP in order to complete the stack. I would take Jared Goff if he falls to me, but I'm not prioritizing quarterback here. I'm going to add a few players to the queue. Ray Davis is going to fall now that Cook has signed, even though I think Ray Davis is fine at that ADP. I like Byshell Chutin. I wouldn't mind taking a Kincaid or a Ferg and then ending at 2 tight ends, although I do like Jordan Mason and Zach Ertz. So maybe those are the routes I go. I think I would prefer that to one of these unstacked guys. Ramondre is such a gross click. It's like, I don't want absolutely zero, but I really don't want to click him. Dylan Sampson's fine. Josh Palmer's fine. So this got away from me. Everybody that I wanted to click on has evaporated from my queue here. I think I'll take a Josh Palmer share here. I do like Palmer. I think he's a little bit undervalued in this, and maybe, man, these running backs are so dusty. I think I would take Trey Benson. No, I guess I'll take Ramondre. I mean, it is a good ADP value. If I'm not excited about it, but I'm not trying to get stone zero of the guy. He's 13 picks past ADP. I need another running back. Travion looks so darn good. Travion just looks so darn good that I will. I kind of don't like the Ramondre pick. Joel says, I prefer taking Kyler on Cincinnati Cardinals sacks to overdrafting Burrow. Yeah, I like that too. I prefer that to taking Burrow at the at the 4-5. I would much rather take Kyler at, at the 8-9. I think I agree with that quite a bit. Obviously Burrow could be the guy you need. I'm not saying I don't take Burrow, but I really have a problem taking him that early. I think if week 17 doesn't go to overtime, we're taking Burrow 20 picks later. Like I really do. I think that it was so high profile that Burrow was the guy you needed in week 17 in a game that went to overtime that we're now paying the price for that this year. That's just my take. I could be completely wrong, but that's just how I felt about that. Goes Card says, I hate having unstacked QBs and BBM. Limb not so much, but at some point the value is too much to pass up. Yeah, I don't like having it either, but time and time again, unstacked QB has helped teams advance either in the playoff rounds or even in week 17. We've seen it. I think we're sometimes a little too rigid on the don't take unstacked QB rules. I think it's superior to have them stacked, but I don't think it's strictly necessary every single time to have your quarterback stacked. I very rarely take unstacked QBs that don't have some rushing upside, but there is a time and a place when you're getting some tremendous ADP value in considering the points they're going to add to your team versus like a backup running back who has contingent upside that may never be realized. That they're sometimes I think we adhere to these rules like to our detriment a little bit. I'll queue up Zach Ertz. I wouldn't mind taking Ertz with Daniels, especially again with this range of running back and receiver feeling a little dead. Kyle Williams, though, I have some interest in. If I want another quarterback, it's kind of now or never. And maybe the answer is never. Let's take Kyle Williams, though. This is a nice ADP value on this. We have Ramondre. I think Kyle Williams is going to come along a little bit slowly, but I find it unlikely that Kyler Sosa takes a third tight end here, and if he does, I don't know why he would take Zach Ertz ahead of Strange or Hunter. So we'll push that and hopefully not regret it there. Let's take Zach Ertz. So we have a 2-4-6-2 with Jaden Daniels and Justin Fields, running back room of Devon Achane, Alvin Kamara, Zach Charbonnet, and Ramondre Stevenson. Wide receiver room of Amon-Ra, Deebo Samuel, Josh Downs, Chris Godwin, Josh Palmer, and Kyle Williams. And then George Kittle and Zach Ertz at tight end. So again, a little bit different of a team than I typically build, but I like it. We've gotten a little bit of ADP value on a couple of Patriots. I think, which stream was it yesterday? They were calling them crappy Pats. And I wish I remembered who said that, but Crappy Pats is pretty funny. And now I have 2 Crappy Pats on my team. Skeletor says, new bookie beatdown for UFC 319 just dropped. Hell yeah. Yeah. Bookie beatdown. If any of you are into MMA, Paul Shaughnessy and Cody Safdie do a weekly podcast, Bookie Beatdown. They also have a Patreon, which is great. They cover PFL, BKFC, regional shows. They are the guys to follow in MMA, and they do release a UFC show every week, which I really enjoy. So anyway, if you're into the MMA streets, those guys are awesome. And yeah, I will be listening to that today. I am excited for Duplessis Chimaev. I will be tuning into that. But A-Rich goes at 168, so my dreams of potentially getting A-Rich late have foundered here. He also takes Eckler, who potentially would have made sense on a Washington team. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is fun, although I believe in Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt's entire college career, he caught about 5 passes. He also did have a weird college career. It was that odd instance where he redshirted for very arcane NCAA reasons, like that didn't even involve him. Like apparently there was a snafu with the number he was wearing, and they thought he was ineligible to play, and he wasn't. It was just somebody else played with his number. Some very bizarre story led to JCM like not having a complete college career. So he's kind of a fun, raw prospect. I think he would make sense on this team. I think I can't decide if we want to stop at 2 tight ends with Kittle and Ertz, or if we want to try to add a third. I think we might just end this with Daniels and Fields. I don't think there's a need to force a third QB on this team. I tend to build mostly 3 QBs, but again, with Fields and Daniels, I'm okay taking the chance that this is the pairing we need. So let's get Krosky Merritt here, and then just thinking about who we want next. Did I miss out on Mason Taylor? No, I did not. So maybe we take JCM here and Mason Taylor next. Although it's really hard for me to click Mason Taylor ahead of Jonnu Smith. I know it's a stack, but I really like Jonnu. I think Jonnu is like objectively a very good pick. So I'm going to forego the stack. People can argue that maybe that's bad, but I think forcing the stack at the cost of a guy who I think is going to be heavily involved in a team that uses a ton of tight ends. That went out of their way to trade for a guy to reunite him with his former OC. I'll take the plunge on Jonnu there. So you know what, that was a little bit of a tough call because obviously with Kittle you don't necessarily need to go 3 tight ends, but Ertz, I'm a little sketchy as Ertz is my second tight end. He's not the bastion of health. I know we got to draft like we're right, but if I'm going to stop at, I don't like 2-7-7-2. I think it's just too fragile. And tight ends are the position that gets injured most frequently. So I will take that. There. Skeletor asks, "Are you sub to their Patreon? I might need to get in there." Yes, I am. I am sub to the Bookie Beatdown Patreon. They have a very active MMA Discord, especially on fight nights. If you want to chat MMA during the fights, that's a great place to hang out and do it. Goes Cards asks, "Is Hampton the real deal, worth his ADP even if Najee is healthy?" I think so. I mean, it's going to be, that offense is going to score a lot of points. Like, they're going to have a lot of long drives, right? Like, at the end of the day, having the running back 1 on a team we think is going to score a lot of points that plays in a dome, I'm pretty in on that. I think I have a hard time like passing it. Yeah, I mean, rookie running backs are not without risk, but I'll say this, Coach Cards, I would feel way worse about it if Najee was a true incumbent. Like if Najee had been there last season and we were dealing with that. But Najee is new there too. It's not like he's the established veteran and now we have the usurper rookie. It's not that situation. It was an open backfield. So that's why I'm like not as worried. Fantasy Football Garage tight ends get injured all the time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure their injury rate is the highest of any position in the league. So with you there, Fantasy Football Garage. Hampton feels like a younger, healthier Breece Hall on a better team. I see it. I feel like Breece Hall was a little bit more touted as a prospect, but I definitely agree that it's not like an outlandish comp. I see what you're saying for sure. But he's definitely younger, healthier, and on a better team. But I'm definitely with you there. All right, let's see. Man, Aaron Rodgers is there. I think we're taking Aaron Rodgers. If this guy takes Aaron Rodgers, I'll just take like a Jalen Coker, something like that. Oh, I saw purple and thought he was gone. I'm just going to take Aaron Rodgers. I will happily do that here. And then, do we want another receiver or another running back? I think we would need another running back. Our third running back is very much a contingent value guy. Ramondre stinks. Jacory Krosky-Merritt's going to come up kind of slowly. So maybe we'll do the Sean Tucker thing. Let's see. for yeah, let's take a Sean Tucker share. He's not going to be owned in most of the contest. He's of course, I don't like having two running backs playing each other. I don't mean I don't like, but that's not like the optimal bring back. But we do have Chris Godwin. If I don't think Rachaad White is good, and even if Rachaad White's healthy, if Sean Tucker is playing well, they will not be able to put the genie back in the bottle. So this team was a late audible to a 3-6-6-3. Had planned on this being a 2-6-7-3, but you know what? We had to adapt on the fly. We got Jaden Daniels, Justin Fields, and Aaron Rodgers. So two hyper-mobile quarterbacks in one. Your statue. Devon Achane, Alvin Kamara, Zach Charbonnet, Ramondre Stevenson, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, and Sean Tucker. A wide receiver room of Amon-Ra, Deebo Samuel, Josh Downs, Chris Godwin, Josh Palmer, and Kyle Williams. So a little thin at receiver, but if you buy a Deebo Breakout, Amon-Ra's Amon-Ra, really only need one of these three to pay off, and if Godwin comes back healthy, love that. And then Kittle, Ertz, and Jonnu, very strong, in my opinion, tight end room there. Depends on what you think of Ertz, but again, Ertz with Daniel. So we got a lot of pieces of Washington. I like the team. I feel like this team, tells a story. So the question is, all right, how many likes do we have? How many likes do we have? I have not asked anyone to like in like an hour. So if you can like and subscribe, let's see. I'm curious. I want to know. I'm going to hold the room accountable. We need some likes. We need some likes to run another draft. All right. We're at 14. Guys, 14. If I can get to 15, we'll run another one. And that's all I ask of you. So I'm just going to assume you got it, and we'll do one more, and then we'll get on out of here. All right. Waiting for 4. We are waiting for 4. It's a high bar, but I think, all right, waiting for 3. If you want to get in, get on in, and we will be off and running here. Again, I appreciate all of your support. I know all of you who are viewing, even though I know there's more than 14 of you have liked the stream, so I'm preaching to the choir here. But again, if you have not subbed, please do so. That helps. I really would love to get to 200 before the season kicks off. That's my goal. Don't know if we're going to get there, but we're going to try. We're going to be here in the mines of Moria here, trying to max BBM and have some fun doing it. Hopefully I'm on the left side of the board, though. I have to say this. So if you want to get in, make sure to sit here, if you're hopping in, so that I can be over on the left. Guys, what happened? Why do I have the 11 hole? All right. That's fine. It's fine. I don't care. All right. So we've got the 11 hole. Yeah. You'll make 200 easily at your rate. I think, hey, Hartman, I hope so. But we'll, you know what? It doesn't matter. We'll, I'm having fun doing this with you guys. Whatever the metrics say is irrelevant, because I'm enjoying this, and I hope you all are too. I see Al Boogie here. Al Boogie 78 at pick 5. T-Car was in the last draft. So I can do the streamer thing of accusing them of lurking without any evidence thereof. But it's T-Car, if you're in here, you got to identify yourself. But no, Hartman's in here. Awesome. Hartman at the 4. So we got Hartman at the 4. We've got Al Boogie at the 5, and Tickosaurus is going to kick us off, hopefully with Jamar Chase, so that we don't have a scandal when they take Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt at the 101. All right. Tickosaurus, of course, has to take their full clock, like it's the real NFL draft, and they want the airtime. But they take Jamar Chase, and we're off and running. All right, Hartman, he takes C.D. Lamb as the first receiver off the board. The flippening has come. There is no more taking Justin Jefferson in at the 2. He has been pushed out. Al Boogie, he takes his full clock. He hams it up on the stream. He takes Gibbs with his pick. So somebody is going to get Saquon. Oh no, Saquon already went at 3. My God. Well, someone's going to get Jefferson at the 6, which is really where he's starting to go these days. Oh my God, are we just going to get all of our Amon-Ra team? We're going to get all of our Amon-Ra teams today. That's what's going to happen. That's okay. That's the way she goes. That's the way she goes. I have not gotten an Amon-Ra Goff team yet. We have not taken Jared Goff. So we'll, yeah. I don't want to like panic and do anything like weird, like take Josh Jacobs over here. I mean, I could do something like that. But I don't know. That might be getting a little too galaxy brained to just do something just because I've been drafting the same-ish team. He takes Amon-Ra. All right. So let's take a I'm taking Drake London. I want a Drake London team, and I don't really care who this guy takes, and I pair with Drake London. So let's do that. I think my preference would be London A-Chain, but I don't know if that's how I want to do things. I think I would do so he takes BTJ. So let's do a London A-Chain team. I think this is actually going to be kind of unique-ish. A-Chain mostly was in the second round. London has been exclusively in the second round. I don't think these guys are going to be together much, but I rate them as pretty dang close to the first round running backs. So I think it's, to me, this is fine. We're going to try to get a little unique and build something different. And hopefully this is the combo you need, because I think it's going to be, I don't want to say unique because that implies I'm the only one out of 200 something thousand, but I think it's going to be pretty rare. Let's see what our friends are doing. Al Boogie is on the clock. Let's see who he adds to Jay Gibbs there. He thinks about it. He's hemming and hawing, and he takes Lad, not afraid of the FUD. And Hartman takes Jonathan Taylor. So they each, all of us have started running back and a receiver with our first 2 picks. Lamar in the second round at 22. My goodness. I mean, probably could have gotten him at 27, but you know what? It's get your guy season. It is officially get your guy season, folks. Maybe we'll switch to a little night driving in honor of the night streams that some of you so graciously tuned into. That was so much fun. I might try to do those on the weekend. I might try to do an after dark show on Saturday and Sunday. We will see. I don't want to, you have to wait an hour and 18 minutes in for these sort of announcements, but I'm doing that because I don't actually know if I'm going to do that or not. But I am thinking of it because I did enjoy doing the night streams, getting in some different drafts, and frankly, I need to make sure I max all the contests I want to be maxing. But definitely getting 3 of these BBMs in helps. I like the 2 teams that we've built so far, and hopefully we like this third one. So Hartman, he takes Tyreek, and Al Boogie takes Hampton. So we have a nice little, you guys are making a nice little pattern here. It's very aesthetically pleasing the way the board is looking. I do appreciate that. All right, let's see. Josh Allen goes, which is not too unexpected. I don't think I want to do another Daniels Kittle team. I would probably really prefer Mike Evans, although I do like JSN. I don't want to be out on JSN, but Evans, okay. We're going to do Evans. He's a nice bring back to A-Chain. Again, I'm not a true week 17 bro. I'm week 17 curious. I think it can be overdone. I think it can lead you to pair players together too frequently where they have nothing to do with one another until week 17. So I do urge caution with some of that. Let's take Worthy. I do really like what I think we could get out of Worthy this season. So let's take Worthy. I mean, Worthy, Tet, those are great clicks. McLaurin, I'm a little less in on, but his price has gotten cheaper. So I think he's a better click now. Pickens, great click. DJ Moore's fine. And so like there's a lot of ways you can go. The middle of the board is a nice place to pick for me, because I really like the picks you get in the mid 40s, early 50s. And you can kind of sit there catching falling value. Whereas when you're on the turn, sometimes, you do have to reach if nothing comes to you. Hartman says, yeah, I wanted a running back that would mess the feng shui. Yeah, no, I figured you knew what you had to do. So I appreciate you understanding the assignment of keeping the board clear. Al Boogie here, if the pattern holds, we'll take a wide receiver. We'll see what happens though. We'll see if he does that. So he does take a wide receiver. Does Al Boogie take Ken Walker and keep the train? No, he takes Terry McLaurin. He says, I would rather have a week 17 stack than your aesthetically pleasing board. So you know what? It's okay. It's okay, Hartman. I forgive you for that. We'll just say you're making a new pattern. We just can't see it yet. I'm just gonna zoom out on the chart. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, I do really like McLaurin at 45. That is such a discount. I mean, we were taking him in the low 30s, and he's fallen quite a bit. I think that's probably the next situation to get resolved. I would be pretty shocked if the Commanders don't sort him out. He's a fan favorite. He's friends with Jaden Daniels. I think that's like the connection that team needs. From a player take perspective, he definitely ran pretty hot with touchdowns. I think some of the manufactured stuff that went to him could go to Debo, but he's also a 4th round pick. And so it's not like we're paying the premium we were before. So, I mean, you can nitpick any of these guys, right? Like, you're looking at a lot of wide receiver 2s and offenses that are not as good as the wide receiver 1 on the Commanders. So I still do make the pick at his new ADP, whereas before I really only took him on Daniel's teams. So we are coming up here. We will definitively take a running back with one of these 2 selections. The question is, do we take it with both of them? That is TBD. Hubbard would be fine. A little bit of ADP value on him, but I think the C. Thompson guy's timing out and is going to take Hubbard, and he does. We'll see if this guy takes a running back. I don't know if CKN will take a 3rd running back. Sometimes people don't. So again, my favorite click here is Harvey, but I think I could get him with my next pick. So we're going to push it. I'm not holding my breath, but I would take one of Harvey or Connor. I think it's super unlikely this guy takes both of them. If they do, then I will just happily take one of these receivers. So he does take Harvey. That's a little unfortunate. Maybe I should have taken the guy I wanted first, but I do want to mix up my picks. So we'll take a James Conner. Share there. Igbuka kind of would have been fun to have with Mike Evans. We then would have prioritized this being a Baker team as it is. We've got Penix, Baker, and Mahomes as potential QB options. We have a pretty strong running back room. For the audio listeners, we've got a 0-3-3-0 with A-Chain, Kamara, and James Conner, and wide receivers of Drake London, Mike Evans, and Xavier Worthy. So like how the team is coming out. We'll see what happens. Joe Burrow goes unstacked at pick 64. So, there we go. Debo at 65 to the Daniels drafter. So that's nice for the Daniels drafter. Lay the house RM, our king. Hey, Lay the house RM. Thanks so much for for coming and hanging out. Lay the House RM, one of the better Twitter follows. If you're in the gambling space, I would definitely go check out what Lay the House RM is up to. Matthew Golden steaming his way into the 60s, goes here at 67. Al Boogie, he takes Steph Diggs, so he gets up to 4 receivers, 2 running backs. Hartman, he takes Swift, so he also gets to 4 receivers and 2 running backs himself. So currently filling the flex with a running back, but each of with a receiver, but each of them have very strong wide receiver rooms, in my opinion. This guy, of course, Tikasaurus, he did the same thing as the one hole in the last draft, going Chase Higgins and McBride. And like the last draft, Joe Burrow. In casual season, Joe Burrow just does not make it back to him, but he does get Tony Pollard, who I really like. I really want to draft on the left side of the board, so I can get guys like Tony Pollard, who I am very into. But alas, I am sitting over here in the James Conner cuck chair, watching the guys I want get drafted by other players. But that's okay. All right. We'll pull the board back up. We'll see who Hartman and Al Boogie take. I really wanted a Mahomes team. I really wanted this to be Mahomes. I'm light on Mahomes. I want him. And then the dingbat with Lamar Jackson says, I also need Mahomes. And he is completely unstacked. So there goes that. There goes that, because we simply cannot have nice things. Hartman says, do you think the running backs in roughly rounds 5 to 7 continue to rise to the end? Let me see who that is. Like Travion, Swift, Connor Hub. I think Travion definitely will. I think Pollard definitely will. I think Pacheco could, although people for some reason just don't like Pacheco. So there goes Caleb. I guess I'll take Laporta here. When you're at the turn, sometimes you just got to take what the room gives to you. And in this case, it's a tight end. I don't know if I want yet another Josh Downs share here. Mark Andrews goes and Josh Downs. So let's just take Baker. I mean, don't love taking Baker here because he sometimes randomly will just come back to you at 107. So it feels like you're not getting it in great, but that range of wide receiver is kind of bad. And I did want to lock up at least one of my QBs here, so we'll take Baker there. But yeah, I think some of them Hartman definitely will. I think it's possible Harvey rises. I feel like Kamara, Hubbard, and Connor are kind of going to stay where they're at, but I can see the other guys, rising up, the younger players especially. Hartman says Rise feels the weirdest to me. I guess we all just remembered Benson sucks. Has Connor yeah, I guess Connor has risen, hasn't he? I don't know why in my mind, but yeah, I guess he was going closer to Montgomery before. Speaking of guys that like nobody wants. Yeah, it does. It almost feels like Connor saying Benson is like a 1A. It's like Connor trying to put air in his friend's tires. Like he's trying to like pump up a guy who like actively kind of sucks. That's what it seems like a little bit to me. Like, I don't know. He's just saying something to be nice. Yeah, Benson last year like was losing snaps to like DeMercado, and it was pretty gross. But yeah, again, a lot of these bets are health. I mean, Kamara, Connor, even A-Chain are a little thin, but if they're healthy, I mean, I'd put this running back room up against most running back rooms in this contest. So Hartman, since he added Swift, he took Pacheco and Higgins. Al Boogie took Addison and Mixon. Hartman, he gets Dak with Lamb. So you'll like to see Dak go to a good home, which doesn't always happen in these mid-August drafts. Al Boogie on the clock. Let's see who he takes. He takes J.K. Dobbins. So he hopes that J.K. Dobbins can locate his helmet in time for the regular season. All right. Darnell Mooney could potentially make it to us. A little sketched out on Darnell Mooney, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. It felt like, oh yeah, he'll probably be there till week 1, and then the coach is like, yeah, he should be there this year. It's like, this year? Like, who said anything about year? So that feels not great, and I have a ton of him from earlier on. I'd probably take Etienne if Etienne comes to me. If Etienne falls, yeesh, we're in this like disgusting range of wide receiver. I mean, I'd take a ton of Scatabo, but he's been such a faller that makes me slightly nervous. I hate to do the thing again, but I really think Shaheed makes sense. I know we have, like, again, another Shaheed Kamara team. Not my favorite, but I think that to me makes a little more sense. I'm a little light on Warren. I could potentially take Warren. You know what? I could just believe in something and take Scatabo. So we're going to do that. I already have Sam Laporta. We are going to believe in something in this channel, folks, and we're going to believe in Cam Scatabo. So we will we will do that versus taking a second tight end. And again, I think the Scatabo bet, maybe it ends up being more late season. It's hard to know, with him dealing with this hamstring injury. Missing time as a rookie is not great, but if he starts out as just a goal line back or running 2-minute drills, that's not nothing. And if he, by the end of the season, I think by the end of the season he could win the job. But obviously, this is a low ebb in the Scatabo for us Scatabo truthers out there. But you know what? We'll get him here at 110, and yep, as our fourth running back. We're not going to rely on him to score points early on in the season. Al Boogie, he takes J.J. McCarthy. I think, no, you're not the Jefferson drafter. You're the Addison drafter. Gotcha. So he takes J.J. McCarthy there. And Hartman takes Tucker Kraft, a guy I'm super in on as well. Definitely consider taking Kraft myself. One of my higher owned tight ends of the year. Pretty into that. So I like the teams that Hartman and Al Boogie have constructed so far. I think they are very strong. Let's see for ourselves, just thinking about what we want to do next. Could pretty much go in any direction. Michael Penix might be a priority for us. I think the Mooney drafter already has 2 quarterbacks, so hopefully they don't decide this is the time to lock up a third, but you never know. People are very 3 QB pilled and can get aggressive. Can get aggressive with that, but you have to scroll a little to get to Penix. So hopefully that keeps him off of the radar of at least a few people there. Don't know if I want to push Penix around the turn, and part of that is because it is so easy to do a Penix Pitts instant stack. So I do have to worry about somebody just rising from the depths and doing that to me. So I will, assuming Penix is there, I will take him. If Penix goes, then our quarterback situation gets kind of bad. Then we start considering, do we take Tua to stack with A-Chain and then, NWI or Malik Washington kind of thing, or, Darren Waller. Like it gets pretty bad. All right, so Njoku goes. Bigsby is an interesting click, but I think I'd rather just take. I'd rather just not muck about and take Michael Penix here. So we've stacked our first 2 wide receivers, which I like. T-Law goes. I mean, that makes sense because I think. So do we want to do Pitts or do we want to do Bigsby and shut it down at running back? You know what? We're going to take Tank Bigsby here. And we're just going to end this team at 5 running backs. So again, I don't want to build, and Hartman says, I just build the same team over and over, so it can't go wrong. Tua won't come back. No, Hartman, I am under no design. This team does not need Tua, but yes, no, I hear you. I tend to, with my last pick or two, take one of those like late round rookie running back flyers on almost every team. And like Hartman said, don't necessarily want to build the same team over and over. So I'm going to make this team some of my late clicks are not going to be running backs in this room. I mean, obviously with the caveat that if there's some crazy good value, I will take another. But I think with A-Chain, Kamara, Connor, I've kind of made my, going to make a stand with 3 early-ish running backs, and then Scatabo and Bigsby, who I think are more than just contingent bets. We're gonna try to stop at 5 and catch up by volume in some of the other positions. Because again, at receiver, our 4th receiver is Rashid Shaheed, so it feels a little, like maybe that 4th receiver role is kind of up for grabs on this team. So let's pull the board up, see what goes on. Cam Ward goes at 145. Again, when you're on the turn and you want Cam Ward, you either have to take him at 145 or pray he's there at 168. So I certainly get that. Let's see what Golden Puck does. He takes Tyler Algier Hartman on the clock. Hartman takes Tua. I was surprised, Hartman, that you pushed Tua around with some of those wild cards on the turn, but it does pay off, and you get Jaden Blue. But if you think Jaden Blue might be the running back 1 in Dallas, then I certainly respect the push there, because that is something that I would push Tua for if that's your stand on one Jaden Blue. Of course, now that I took a running back, I'm probably going to get some crazy running back faller that I'm really into here. But you know what? It's that is okay. Let's see. I'll start queuing up some guys. Demario Douglas, Tillman, Strange, QJ, Dante Thornton's kind of fun. What quarterbacks are here? Geno's there. Interesting. All right. Are you? No, you're not the. All right. So let's see. This could be a. We could do Thornton. We could do Thornton Geno. I think we take Thornton first, because I'm fine if we don't have Geno, but we do have Thornton. The only issue we run into is this guy taking a quarterback. I'm going to take Geno and just hope that this guy does not take Thornton. I'm going to feel really stupid if he does. I'm going to hope that this guy does not scroll down and do that. But we'll see. The issue is that once Bryce Young was gone, now you're into thinner QB bet territory. Brenton Strange goes, who I like quite a bit, and please don't take Dante Thornton here. Oh! Okay, that sucked. That sucked. Should have taken Dante Thornton first. Gosh darn it. All right. Chad with I'm seeing. Wait, I don't know. Al Boogie, I'm not sure what you said. That I'm still recovering. I'm still recovering from that. That was brutal. I should have taken Thornton first, and I said the reason why, because then it would have made sense for him to take Naked Geno, and I could have taken like Dart or something late. Oh, now I just have Naked Geno. This is brutal. All right. I have a new mortal enemy, CKNI 65. You had so many receivers you could have taken, and you took mine. That was painful. That was painful there. I don't even know how I get back on the horse after that, but we shall overcome. We shall overcome. Maybe we'll get Jack Betch. All right. Well, going back to brighter things. Now we can root for Al Boogie and Hartman. Al Boogie, he gets Romeo Dobbs and Zach Ertz on his team, which is nice. My bad. Let me write in English again. No worries. No worries. Hartman says, with Dak and Love, I feel fine if I miss out on Tua. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Oh, Al Boogie, you didn't know I was in your room. Yeah. Nope. You are. You're in here. You're in here in the asylum. With the rest of us crazy people. Hartman, he takes Hollywood Brown, who has been fallen quite a bit, but at 165, I think he's certainly worth the punt. Now I know Hartman was here. I'm glad I got my QBs early. Yeah, you've got to. You got to know your room, and apparently I failed on that by not taking freaking Thornton, and now I have naked Chino again. Gosh darn it. All right. Chig goes. So this guy again, when you're on the turn, he's had to reach, but I like all the players he's gotten. So I think he's doing well over there. Jack Betch. We'll queue up Jack Betch. Queue up Jack Betch and Diami Brown, because who cares anymore? No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's see. I don't want to go crazy with like a certain bye week. Okay, but week 8 bye we can handle. So maybe we go two wide receivers and then end with 2 tight ends. Yeah, Hartman, find someone that loves you as much as Chad loves Slate on Stack QBs. I did not want that. I know I was like, oh, it's fine to take unstacked quarterback. We don't do it enough. And then it happens to me and I'm like epileptic. But I didn't think I was drafting an unstacked QB. I had a pre-stack. All right, I think I would have taken Wandale first. I think Diami Brown is just a better player than Jack Betch. If I don't get Jack Betch, I just do not care. Alec Pierce is also interesting. Arguably might be a better click as well than just forcing the stack. But interesting choice. Let's take Betch. I mean, if falling behind in wide receiver competition, we just got to windmill in this pick here. But yeah, if we're thinking, week 17 is all that matters, maybe Jack Betch is playing American tackle football in week 17. So for the audio listeners, we have a 3-5-7-1 with Baker, Penix, and Gino, a running back room of A-Chain, Kamara, James Conner, Cam Scatabo, and Tank Bigsby, wide receiver room of Drake London, Mike Evans, Xavier Worthy, Rashid Shaheed, QJ, Diami Brown, Jack Betch, and a tight end room of Sam Laporta over by his lonesome, but he will find a couple friends, or at least one friend before this draft is over. Al Boogie, he adds the two hype beasts in Tory Horton and Keaton Mitchell. Like both those clicks, Tory Horton has been screaming up draft boards all the way to the 15th round, and Keaton Mitchell again, I liked him even before the preseason, but great click there for Hartman. I was like Nick Chubb and AD Mitchell. No, Hartman takes Jerome Ford and Roschon Johnson. Perfectly reasonable late running back bets for those two. Hartman says you got lucky this time, Boogie. Yeah, Al Boogie, you've with McCarthy and Herbert, you were good there. I can't believe I ended up with Jack Betch. I mean, look at his stupid face here instead of Dante Thornton, who's everyone just can't stop talking about how great he is. All right. Let's see. Tikasaurus, he winds the clock down after taking Sean Tucker and takes Io Menor to pair with Cameron Ward. Looks like Cade Otton went. Maybe Cade Otton would have made more sense earlier on this Baker team, but I don't hate Jack Betch as a 7th receiver. I think it's fine. But I think Geno naked versus Geno and Betch, is there that big a difference? Might not be. Might not actually be that big. All right, so Laporta has a week 8 bye. That's really annoying because I wanted to do something and I can't do it now, but that's okay. Just this draft. Hartman says, my app literally glitched. Roshan was supposed to be Arroyo. Oh man. Sorry, I'm not saying that. That's annoying. Well, it looks like you got Arroyo anyway. So now you got Roshan and Arroyo. I'll talk to the commissioner, see if they roll it back. But at least you didn't get like Rayshawn Johnson, in the XFL or something like Ricky Person. All right, Jatavion Sanders goes, who I like. Let's just take another Saint. Why not? We've already got 2. Let's just hope the Saints are involved in a shootout here. So we'll do that, and then we will take Michael Mayer. We'll take Michael Mayer as the late stack for Geno Smith. I think Michael Mayer has some contingent upside. It's interesting. Warren Sharp came out and put something out and said that the Raiders actually were running less 12 personnel with their first team in the preseason than they were expecting to, which surprised me. Maybe a little bearish for Mayer. I still do think they're likely to run some, 12. I thought it would be at a high rate, but we'll see. Either way, Michael Mayer apparently is having a really good camp. If something happens to Bowers, I think Michael Mayer turns into a top 10 tight end. So we'll take a little contingent upside, a little stack. Again, week 17, who knows? Who knows what the world looks like? But with that, this team is a 3-5-7-3. Baker Mayfield, Michael Penix, Geno Smith. Running back room, Devon Achane, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, Cam Scatabo, and Tank Bigsby. Drake London, Mike Evans, Xavier Worthy, Rashid Shaheed, QJ, Diami Brown, and Jack Betch at receiver. And then Sam Laporta, Juwan Johnson, Michael Mayer at tight end. Don't mind the team. I think it's not too bad. Our friends round out their team. Al Boogie, he takes Mike Gesicki. Hartman, he takes Ray McLeod. Al Boogie also got Jalen Knoll there. So I like the teams that you guys assembled. I think you guys built smart. And hopefully 2 out of the 3 of us get out of this room. But let's see. Al Boogie says, if I'd shown your name earlier, I might have taken a QB first round. Hartman says, Jack Betch is your guy. Think about the good old days. Yeah, I'll just pretend this is a big board team. And XFall, Tyler Shuck, dude. Yeah, well, I guess this could have been a 4 QB team. Maybe that would have been better. Who knows? I didn't get Tyquan Thornton, so the team is ruined. But everyone, thank you so much for coming by. That was so much fun today. On your way out, if you could drop a like and a sub. Yeah, Hartman, likewise. I do really enjoy drafting with you as well. Al Boogie, geez, thanks again. But yeah, everybody, if you don't mind, like and a sub. Otherwise, I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care, everyone.